Hi, this is Xane Daniel. I wanted to thank you so much for participating in this meditation and activation. This is not just a guided meditation, but it is an activation. I work with an extra-dimensional collective called the Hathors. They're very powerful, and by listening to the sound of my voice, you're being activated by the Hathors, and then peppered throughout this meditation, you'll receive very specific, targeted energy healing through activations. And how these activations work is I will say, breath in. And when I do, you'll take a nice big deep breath and you'll hold it at the top and you'll wait for me to say the word awaken. And then you can exhale. But it will be loud, so don't be too surprised when it bursts into your ears. This is the signal that will send a high burst of energy to accomplish whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. And as with all high vibrational energy activations or attunements, it's important for you to know that this can result in a little bit of a recovery period. So don't be surprised if you feel extra tired or extra wide awake. Drink plenty of water after you listen to this. And this recovery period could actually take a couple of days for you to get over. But understand that if you do experience a recovery period, you've gone through quite the transformation. To use the Monday meditations as intended, I invite you to listen to each one all week, every day, until the next Monday meditation releases, and then use that one every day for a week. Each time you listen to them, they will become more and more integrated into the amazing being that you already are. Get into a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a big deep breath. Do your best to relax as you exhale. Relax your arms, relax your neck, jaw, your shoulders, allow them to droop, your torso and your legs. A lot of times we feel like we're almost holding our organs inside of our body, but we don't really have to do that. They'll stay there just fine on their own. Relax your ankles, your feet, and your toes. Feel the temperature of the room that you're in. Feel your clothes against your skin. We're going to go on a journey. I want you to go back to the biggest childhood trauma that you can remember. If you have PTSD in regards to this memory, then you may want to skip this meditation, as it could bring up those memories in such a way that would be more harmful than helpful. But otherwise, I want you to really picture that big one. Almost everybody has a big one. This moment that a parent or a sibling or a bully or someone in your life abused you, or you felt a level of fear that you had never felt up until that point. And that's why you remember this so clearly. If you don't have a firm memory of one, that's okay. You probably still have a general sense of what your parents might have said to you or your sibling. And so do your best to remember those general thoughts, those general things. And if you can, even if you can't exactly remember the situation, kind of picture a one possible situation. And we're going to go back there as observers. You're not going to be there as your younger self. You're going to be there as your current self, looking in on it. You're going to be there at the moment that the experience occurred. You're going to see the thing that was said, the abusive action that was taken, the moment that created the shame or the guilt or the fear that you've carried with you throughout your life, whether consciously or subconsciously. And you can see the younger version of yourself, pretty much exactly what you looked like then. You might be able to picture the space that it occurred in, whether it was at home or at school or at a family member's house. Remember that specific moment, and if you can, even remember what was leading up to that. You were just going about your day. You wanted to do the thing and somebody said you couldn't do the thing, or you were afraid, oh no, this might happen, I don't want this to happen again. Whatever your mental state was leading up to the moment, and then the moment itself, you can see the expression on your younger face. You can see the action that you took, whether it was trying to run, or trying to fight back, or just believing the horrible thing that was said about you. Allow yourself to experience this because it's a real experience. You don't have to run from it. The time has come to bring it forward and to bring it fully into your field. The more that you try to ignore it or forget it or make it go away, the larger it gets. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go right back to that moment, and we're going to accept it as part of our incredible history. From this perspective, this observer perspective, you see it all. In the case of an abuse situation, you see the suffering that the abuser had in order to have reached out or to have lashed out at you in the way that they did. If it was some sort of physical abuse, you can see still the suffering of the abuser. If it was just a scary moment or a traumatic moment, you can see the situation that caused it. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was malicious, and even in the malicious situation, once again, you can see the suffering of the individual that caused the incident. Because in order to truly heal from a trauma, especially an abuse style of trauma, you have to understand the mindset or the emotion set of the individual who did the abuse. They didn't do it just to cause you a lifelong trauma. They did it because they were trying to figure out a way to be okay with themselves. Whatever they might have said to you was something they were worried about themselves, something they didn't love about themselves. If they committed some sort of physical abuse, they probably received it when they were children. And so it wasn't about you. It was about them trying to overcome whatever it was that they had previously experienced. Obviously, they didn't do it in a very good way, but they were truly trying their best. And it might hurt to hear that because of all of the angst that you might be carrying with you from this moment. But everyone is a human. Everyone has human flaws. Everyone is really doing their best. Yes, they could have done it differently. But in order for them to have done it differently, they would have to be doing something like you're doing right now, which is to face that trauma and working to clear it and to love yourself despite it. They likely didn't do anything of the sort. The suffering that they experienced from their childhood trauma was so great that they didn't even realize it, and even if they did, they had no idea what they needed to do to overcome it. So now let's look at you. The situation that your younger self experienced. And instead of looking at yourself now from your current perspective, I want you to go up even higher. And I want you to see yourself from the higher self perspective. Your higher self, your soul self, has been with you since birth. It's an important aspect of you. It's your multidimensional self. Your multidimensional self signed up for all of the greatness and all of the misery. You did this because you knew that you could handle it. You had confidence, you had soul confidence that you could handle anything that you chose to take on here. So congratulations. You did actually make it through that trauma. Had you not, you wouldn't be listening to this right now, and you would be observing things all the time from your infinite self, rather than from this 3D incarnate self. So good work. You've done a lot of the work. You've lived with this difficulty. You've lived with this burden. But you're here because you realize that this burden is in the way of you being able to do the things in your life that you really want to do. You want to make sure that you don't hurt anyone else in the same way. You want to make sure that your life is as beautiful as it can possibly be. So good for you. So now when you look at yourself from your higher self perspective, your younger self, you can really look at him or her with a great deal of compassion and understanding. Of course you reacted in that way. What other way could you have possibly reacted? You were young. You believed what was being said. You believed that if it was physical, maybe it was deserved. Maybe you had done something wrong. You believed that this was the way that the world worked. Now, from your higher self perspective, you understand that it was just all set up intentionally by you, your soul contract. And really, you know from your higher self perspective, you're right on schedule. So the first thing I want you to do is your higher self, looking at your younger self, I want you to think about what emotional experience you had from this abuse or traumatic situation. What's the carryover emotion? Is it shame or guilt? This is a common one. Is it a feeling of unworthiness? A deservedness if it was an insult? Also very common. Is it a fear? Do you not feel safe now because of this situation? All of these things are highly likely, but there's one that dominates them all, and this is the one that you suffer with the most. So if you've isolated this feeling, this emotional experience, then what I want you to do is, still looking at your younger self now, The abuse, the trauma has just happened. And you can see visually represented as a cloud of energy, as a blemish, this trauma that you experienced at that age. And not only the trauma, but the emotional carryover. So you can see visually represented as you peer into your past. You can see that fear, or that shame, or that guilt, or that unworthiness. You can see it on your younger self. So now what I want you to do, as your higher self, you're going to reach in and grab that emotion and pull it, extract it from your younger self. One strand at a time. Whatever it is, you're pulling it until it's no longer attached to your younger self. And it doesn't matter if you feel it in your current self right now, who cares? All we're doing right now is removing it from your younger self so that you don't pack it in, so that you don't carry it with you. There is no such thing as time, so this wound is as fresh as the day that it occurred. So pulling it out and throwing it away, sending it to the light, tossing it off to the side, tossing it to the center of the earth to be absorbed into the crystalline core. Whatever you see is right. So go ahead and do that until you can see your younger version of yourself clear of this blemish or this visual burden. Breath in. Oi! Good job. As you see this burden released from your younger self, I want you to also notice the facial expression. Maybe he or she is at peace, or smiling, ready to go on and play or do something different. That this has been now shrugged off as no big deal. But now I want you to move forward into your current time. You are your higher self, observing yourself, sitting or laying wherever it is that you're sitting or laying. See the space that you're in. See yourself in the exact position that you are in right now. Notice that your eyes are closed. Notice what clothes you're wearing. And I want you to check to see if you see the same visual representation that you saw on your younger self still today. If you can, I want you to go ahead and do the same thing. You're going to remove it. You're going to reach over, grab it from yourself, and pull it away, tossing it to the light, to the sun, to the crystalline core of the earth. And feel the burden being released. It's not yours to carry anymore. You've done everything right. You've never made a mistake in your entire life. Everything that you've ever done has been perfect. And it's gotten you to exactly where you are right now. So congratulations. You did it. And moving forward, you can know that you won't ever make a mistake because it's impossible. You will always get to exactly where you're supposed to be. So the pressure's off. So removing this burden, this emotion from your field until you don't see it anymore. Breath in. Oi! Good. I want you to take another nice big deep breath and really relax. The weight's been lifted. You did it. And you can use this method for any childhood trauma. You can go back and listen to this again and refocus on something else. So many of us have not just had one, but have had many. And so it can take some time to work through each one in this way. This meditation is you and I working together. The Hathors are here with us, helping you do this work. But you don't need me. You have all the power within yourself to do this sort of work anytime you want to. And if you see variation in how you do it, that's great. So let's say you do it again, but this time you almost feel like you need to do it in a different way. Then do that. Because that's your higher self who's coming in and saying, hey, the way that we heal ourselves is that we do it this way. So allow that to happen. You don't have to follow me. You have everything that you need because you have access to your higher self and all universal knowledge. And what works for one person might not work for someone else. So if you think about what it was that we removed, did we remove fear? Did we remove guilt or shame or unworthiness? If we did that, then the next thing we need to do is refill it. Because that spot has been filled with guilt, shame, fear, etc. your entire life. And if we don't refill it with something beautiful, something wonderful, then you might find a way, because it might be comfortable, to put the same sort of feelings and emotions back in that same spot. But maybe it'll be about something different. So, with the raw removal of that negative emotion, let's go ahead and fill it instead with a positive emotion, a high frequency emotion. Let's choose gratitude. Can you be grateful for the other experiences that you've had in your life? The other things that the person who abused you or caused the trauma has actually brought to you? Can you be thankful for those things? Let's go ahead right now. I'm going to give you a moment to find a few things to be thankful for, especially related to this individual or group that caused you the trauma that you're working to remove today. I want you to state what that gratitude is. I'm thankful that this happened because it's brought me this. It's brought me this other thing. And as you think of those things, allow it to fill you. Allow it to mean that you're going to take another big breath as you bring it in. You bring it into your field. You bring it into your 3D body. And then when you exhale, you will remove any residue, any leftovers that you didn't get the first time or the second time. And I also want you to think about excitement. What would your life look like now that this is gone? Where can you go? What can you do? How much more amazing can you be with that removed? Feel yourself growing in excitement about this new you. When you're ready to be that new you, to say goodbye to that childhood trauma, then I want you to smile. Just smile right now. Because the rest of your life is going to be so much better than that moment in your childhood. It's going to be incredible in comparison. And right now, living in the now moment, you can be at peace because you know that that thing no longer defines you. That you will have broken out of that and you get to now see who you truly are. And anytime you find yourself worried, feeling guilty, feeling shame, feeling fear, feeling unworthiness, remember to look to gratitude and to look to excitement instead of those other emotions, and fill yourself with those new ones, those positive ones, because that's what life truly is here on this planet. It's filled with excitement and gratitude and possibility. When you're ready for this new you, then you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for participating in this meditation. If it made a difference for you, please leave a comment below and let me know. Let me know what you experienced. Let me know what you felt. And also, let me know what other meditations you'd like to experience. I'd love to take requests and create something that everybody can benefit from. I also recommend that you listen to this for any other traumatic experiences that you've had in your childhood. And you can listen to it once a day until the next Monday meditation. So thank you again. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video.